The resident who wasn't on the roster. I used to work the night shift at a small senior care facility in the middle of Iowa. It wasn't a creepy place, just old, quiet. The kind of building where the heating system thumps in the walls and the lights hum overhead. Nights were calm, predictable. The kind of calm that makes you think nothing bad can happen inside 4 bright hallways and a nurse's station stocked with stale coffee. If you've ever worked nights, you know how your sense of time gets strange. Hours stretch, minutes fold into each other. Sounds feel different. A dropped spoon can make you jump because it's the only noise in a building full of sleeping people. That's the mindset I was in when everything started. It happened in November, during my 3rd month on the job. I was the only nurse assistant on nights, with an on-call RN who hardly ever came in unless something serious occurred, which rarely happened. The residents were mostly quiet, gentle, older folks who needed help with medications or an occasional bathroom trip. I always began my shift the same way. Grab the clipboard, check the roster, walk the halls. The roster never changed much. 12 residents in the East Wing, 10 in the West, 4 in memory care. Their names became familiar to me faster than my coworkers did. But the first night something felt off was the night I saw the wheelchair move. It was just before 2 a.m. I was at the nurse's station charting vitals when a faint squeak echoed down the East Hall. A slow, rolling sound. Not fast, not frantic. Just a steady glide. I knew instantly what it was. We had old wheelchairs that always squeaked when someone pushed them. I figured one of the residents woke up and decided to wander, which wasn't unheard of. I stood up, walked toward the hallway, and stopped. A wheelchair was rolling toward me, empty. No one behind it. No one sitting in it. Just moving, smoothly, calmly, as if being guided. It wasn't fast. It rolled maybe 2 feet at a time, paused, then continue a few inches more, heading straight down the hall until it stopped at the doorway of room 28. Room 28 was empty. Had been since I started working there. The building breathed in a strange way when things were quiet. Every shift I had convinced myself the noises were normal. But watching that wheelchair stop perfectly at a room that no one used made something in me tense. I nudged it back with my foot, assuming maybe the floor was uneven or there was a draft. The wheels squeaked. I locked the brakes and pushed it to the wall. Satisfied it wouldn't move, I brushed it off and went back to my station. 3 minutes later, the squeaking started again. I stepped back into the hallway. The wheelchair was rolling again, straight to room 28. At this point, I felt stupid. Scared wasn't the right word. It was more like my body recognized something my brain didn't want to process. I told myself the brakes must have been loose. Maybe I hadn't clicked them all the way. I locked the chair again, harder this time. Tested it. It didn't budge. I returned to my desk, turned away, and tried to focus on charting, but I couldn't stop glancing down the hall every few seconds. At 3:17 a.m., I looked up. The wheelchair was outside room 28 again. This time, facing the door, as if someone was sitting in it, watching. I didn't approach it. I didn't touch it. I just walked very slowly backward to the station, knowing something intentional had happened. But that was only the beginning. The next night, before my shift, I checked the roster to remind myself who needed meds and who had dementia evaluations scheduled. As I scanned the sheet, I saw a name I didn't recognize. Room 28. L. Dawes. I frowned. That room wasn't used. Hadn't been. The RN didn't mention a new resident. There were no discharge papers on anyone else. Nothing added in the chart system. The name wasn't handwritten either. It was printed cleanly, like it had always been there. I walked down to room 28, half expecting to find a new patient. The door was closed. I knocked gently. No answer. I opened it. The room was empty. Same dust on the dresser, same clean bed with hospital corners, same unplugged lamp. No suitcase, no clothes, no medications, but the wheelchair was inside the room now, perfectly centered, facing the bed. I backed out slowly and closed the door. At 1:40 a.m., I heard something new. Not wheels, not squeaking, breathing, soft, labored, human, coming from room 28. I approached the door slowly. The breathing quieted as I got closer. When I finally touched the handle, it stopped altogether. I opened the door. The room was empty, except for the wheelchair, now pushed against the wall as if someone stood up from it moments before. I turned on the light and scanned the floor. Dust everywhere except one clear trail leading from the chair to the bed. 2 faint footprints. Bare, small, older. I felt my stomach twist. I checked the roster again. Room 28, L. Dawes. I went to the filing cabinet and pulled archival rosters from previous months. October, September, August. I flipped them open. Room 28 was empty on all of them, but on the back of the September sheet in pencil, someone had written, "Do not assign. He doesn't stay in the room." I stopped breathing for a moment. I went back to room 28. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity, maybe something heavier. Maybe the same thing that makes you poke at a bruise. The room was still. Cold. The wheelchair sat quietly against the wall. I whispered, "Mr. Dawes?" I don't know why I said it. Maybe because saying the name made it less terrifying. Something moved behind me. A sound like fabric shifting. I turned around too fast, hitting my shoulder on the dresser. The door was half open now. I knew I had left it fully open. The hallway lights flickered, and right in the gap under the bed I saw movement. A hand, thin, pale, wrinkled. It slid slowly back into the darkness under the frame. I staggered into the hallway, heart slamming hard enough I felt it in my teeth. I didn't run. I don't know why. Something about running felt disrespectful, like I might provoke whatever was inside that room. I called the on-call RN. She didn't answer. I left 2 messages, then locked myself in the supply closet until sunrise. When morning came, room 28 was quiet again, almost peaceful. I opened the door, and the room looked exactly like it had before. No footprints, no wheelchair, no hand. Just an empty bed and dust. The roster on the desk no longer listed L. Dawes. At noon, when the day nurse arrived, I finally asked her, "Who stayed in room 28 before I came here?" She hesitated, just for a moment too long. "We don't use that room anymore." "Why not?" She forced a smile. "Old wiring, breaker issues." I didn't say I'd seen footprints, or heard breathing, or watched an empty wheelchair move on its own. But as I was leaving the building that morning, I noticed a small plaque on the wall near the front desk. A framed photo. An older man sitting in a wheelchair, smiling softly. Name, Leonard Dawes, year of death, 2014. Location, East Wing, room 28. So he had existed. The following night was my last shift there. I resigned without explanation. But sometimes, when I drive past the building on my way into town, I swear I see someone watching from the window of room 28. An older man, sitting very still, as if waiting for someone to check the roster and notice his name again. And sometimes, in the middle of the night at home, from somewhere near my bedroom door, I hear that sound again. A light squeak, a slow roll, as if a wheelchair is turning the corner, looking for me.